Hey, what is going on YouTube? Aaron here. We are back, ladies and gentlemen. And guys, just look at that cinematic view. The HMS Repulse, such a beautiful ship. I wanted to start this video a touch early in the loading screen here for two reasons. Number one, that view, and number two, to talk about the spawns briefly on Haven. I have put in the feedback for over 6 months that the spawns at the lower tier, this is a 5 and 6 match, are correct, right? You can see that we spawned out here on the left, but then we spawn at legendary tier. I had a game in the same exact spawn in the Montana last night, and I'm bunched up there around A. Now, it was capture the base, so it was the base, but I'm not sure why the development team, maybe they've been working on training rooms, but I've put in the feedback that the spawn should be out here. Why? Because it creates a more balanced game. But enough of me ranting and raving about the spawns. Let's talk about the HMS Repulse. And guys, I'm going to be honest, I was super excited for this ship, but unfortunately, I don't really like her. Now, I know a lot of my British guys are going to be like, I'm just kidding, guys. If you guys know that meme, if not, you should look it up. It's like, well, at least meme or whatever. It's a popular meme right now. But yeah, guys, I'm not a huge fan of this ship. Now, that does not mean she does not deliver. If you look at her armor profile, she just does not have enough to really stand up to the punishment that a battleship needs to take. Now, of course, she is a battle cruiser, and you can see we have a three consumables of 3-minute engine boost, and that is going to be the strength of this ship. And that's not to say this game turns out very well. I have gotten multiple high calibers. It's just one of those ships that I haven't maybe, felt out yet or gotten the exact playstyle down. But she plays very similarly to some of the French battleships and being fast, kind of agile battle cruiser types. And here was a beautiful salvo, 5 pins for 17K at tier 5 on a slightly angled, warspite there. So she does her job. It's just, I feel like I'm sometimes having to work harder to get the same results that I would in other tier 5 battleships. She's basically a hood without armor, an extra gun, and a sonar. So if you think that is a package you want to invest your time into, be my guest. We also have a little clip from the Discord here of Don't Peek, who is the leader of OTE2. So if you're looking for a clan, he has a few spots left, or a fleet rather. He has a few spots left, but he put into Discord here, you can basically get the Repulse or the Congress for free. That blip did say that. Now, it's going to be a lot easier if you buy the Admiralty backing. And a few of you, I think, maybe misunderstood me about my Giuseppe review. If you can get, I always get the campaign. If you play this game often, every single campaign is going to be worth it for you in terms of the rewards. Now, the ship, I'm not a huge fan of the Verde. I'm not a huge fan of the Congress. We have that review coming up. And I'm not a huge fan of this ship. Maybe it was because I put a little too much excitement into that. But basically, every ship in this update, there is another format of it. Now, we are reaching the stage in Legends, where this game has been out for 4 years now, where there is 400 plus ships. So the uniqueness of ships is going to go down. But anyway, let's get talking about the strategy in this game. So using the strengths of this ship, we have used our engine boost, and now we are turning out. We can see that we are probably on the weak side. We have a few cruisers in the sea cap. Our team has actually done a good job of already eliminating the enemy destroyer. And here we're going to straight overmatch the Duca. These guns do hit very hard, and they are very accurate. I think it has a 2.0 Sigma with battle cruiser dispersion, and battle cruiser dispersion is better than battleship dispersion, and the Sigma is one of the best, for a battleship in the game. Now, there are certain other ships like the Elbing and Stalingrad with better Sigma, and of course Sigma means grouping. There, the grouping wasn't that great. Sigma is grouping, and dispersion is basically the ellipse or the oval that your shells can land into. So by decreasing dispersion, you're decreasing the size of the oval, which is good, and by increasing Sigma, you're increasing the chance for those shells to group. And something to note is, no matter how good your dispersion or grouping is, you're basically rolling a dice each time you fire each turret. I've been told it is based off of, individual turrets. And there we get one of those salvos where it either landed short or we just got a bad roll. Now, having said that, we have gotten some fantastic rolls, which I will edit in here for you guys. The first one we have here is on a Leander, of course, a British light cruiser sailing broadside. But you can see that grouping, you can see that dispersion. Good night, thanks for playing. The next one we have here is actually on a destroyer with HE. All 6 shells connect, Dev Strike. It looks like I'm getting some PG type players here and editing in a little meme compilation. And finally, did I really have to put in an Omaha? Everyone knows that those things go boom. But yes, guys, if I were to edit these videos and only clip a high caliber game, I could probably say this is the best tier 5 ship, make you guys buy it, spend your money. But I honestly, my honest opinions, I just don't enjoy the ship. I don't know why. It could be a ship like the Champagne or the Montana for me that, is a half decent ship, and maybe with a buff or a new style of play that develops, I will really enjoy in the future. But for the time being, I'm probably going to take the ship out a few more times, maybe here or there for some count-ins or some historical, recreations. But to be honest, I just don't enjoy playing this ship at the moment. Again, that being said, that does not make this a bad ship in any regard. I think it has something to do, you can see a beautiful 3 hits there for 10k. If you could do that every time while angling, saving your heals, I think the heals are slightly less than a super heal. They're still very good. But I think, the ships with 6 guns, I feel like I get trolled more often than not. Accuracy by volume. Now, the ship does have a 25-second reload, but for tier 5, if it would have had a 20-second reload, I think this thing would have been pretty good. There's another decent salvo for our first Citadel of the match, but honestly, throughout this game, we get a lot of broadsides that do not turn out that well. Now, of course, you're not going to get the dev strike every single time you shoot, and here, I was actually looking at turning, but this division decides to shoot HE for a majority of the game, so we can definitely utilize our speed and our heals to kind of ward them off. Our team is doing a good job, though, but you can see the focus of the enemy is on this northeasterly side of the map, the top right here. So what we need to do is we need to remain defensive. I have been aggressive in this ship. I've been trying to get a feel for her. I've been trying to play a touch more aggressive, but with people either recognizing me and the limited armor of this ship, she does not do that well trying to be aggressive. And that is one of the struggle points, I will say, of the ship, is you have the engine boost, but you don't have the armor, and sometimes if you push too far ahead, no armor combined with team focus fire, and yeah, you have a very limited game. I think I was pushing into a Queen Elizabeth in an earlier game, and she took 75% of my health, and I was nearly fully angled. Now, of course, we will go over the armor profile, the stats, and the commander at the end of the video, but I'm just giving you guys my honest thoughts and opinions. So if you enjoy ships like the San Diego or the Congress, that are kind of mid-tier and difficult to play, then the Repulse is going to be perfect for you. She has, definite potential to be a good ship. If you can get 8 people to play in Omaha and sail broadside to you, then she might be one of the best ships in the game. I believe Blip said that this ship also has short fuse AP. It didn't feel like it for a while. I was getting a few overpins, but that is what Blip said. I think he said he had to double check it as well. So that piece of information comes with an asterisk. Here, though, is another frustrating salvo. 2 pens, 1 bounce, and we leave him on literally a sliver of health. But you will notice we have been spammed by 3 or 4 ships now, and thank goodness for the New Mexico and the Warspite either buying their ships and boosting to tier 5, but they shot HE the whole time. So a recommendation to those gentlemen, make sure you shoot the AP. And on the topic of HE, we just switched to the HE for the first time, despite, getting decent salvos and penetrations. Battleships at tier 5, they appear tanky, but 15-inch guns can pretty much overmatch most parts of all tier 5 battleships, especially the nose, and especially that upper belt armor, as you saw earlier with that shot on the Warspite. But here we switch to the HE, and guys, British HE is always going to do well. The issue is, I think you have a 34% fire chance, and again, only 6 guns. Now that salvo was almost god tier, and we actually still got 2 shatters and missed 1 shell, but a double fire and 3 penetrations. So if you are in the situation where the enemy decides to bow tank you, make sure you, of course, switch to the appropriate ammo type. Do not be the ignorant battleship player who just keeps AP loaded the entire game. Now, I've been trying to meme a few more people, and yes, this gentleman did turn broadside, so the AP would have been the better choice, but he put out that double fire, and thank goodness for our one good roll of RNG today, we actually did get a permanent fire on him. But again, we're in this defensive position, and kind of with that longer reload, that Warspite is actually going to get behind that island, and unfortunately he goes undetected there, so we could not get that AP salvo off. And here, our team has done a fantastic job. The game is pretty much over. We're taking a little bit more damage here, and we're just trying to farm damage. We did our job. We used our speed to our advantage. We used our heals when they were necessary, and the enemy did not push any advantages. You will also notice we have all 4 caps, so if I do have a recommendation to the enemy team, make sure you guys get those objective points. But a huge shout out to the blue team. They actually did not do the typical blue team thing here. And this is when I actually make a little bit of a mistake. You can see that I think it's a Ramahat there. Ramat is a Pan-Asian cruiser. He goes ahead and smokes up, and I'm not really realizing it. I think I realized as soon as I shot during this game, I was like, wait a second. I am the only available target for them to shoot at. And again, I almost want to clip in a clip of me getting absolutely blasted in this thing, because if this New Mexico had AP, I could have been deleted here, if I'm being honest. Now, I did make this turn only because he had HE, and I know that he was shooting HE most of the game. But if he decided to use AP, I mean, besides RNG aside, him missing all but one shell, I have been absolutely yeeted. You guys will see when we go over the armor of this boat. Now, I didn't realize it at the time, but the points are ticking very low. I wish I would have gotten, a few more salvos on these gentlemen to at least get one kill, but we actually got another beautiful HE salvo for one fire, 5 pens there, and the high caliber. And that is when we get set on fire twice, and, obviously repair that while popping our last heal. Here, though, you can see 2 broadsides. We aim nice and waterline, maybe a touch above, as shells always seem to go just that 1 or 2 inches low, or I guess, feet or meters, whatever you want to use it, for a nice 3 hits there. But I always just aim slightly above waterline and end up getting those citadels anyway. Now here is a shot that we talk about getting trolled by RNG, and we've ticked a nice damage total. We have 1 citadel, so it's not like we have, been completely void of any RNG. But look at this perfect broadside sailing in a straight line, almost perfect grouping. Look at those 3. They're inside of each other, and that 4th one actually lands, and trolled yet again. But as we've mentioned multiple times, RNG comes and RNG goes. And I was kind of looking at this, and I was like, nice, I might be able to get, 10, 20, 30, almost 40k more damage, depending on what my teammates decide to shoot at. And the game ends. We ticked out to 1,000 points. So enemy team, make sure you guys do just enough so where I can have a little bit higher damage total for the video. Still a good score, nothing amazing, just a high caliber, no kills, but it shows you guys the strengths of the ship. I tend to, it's very difficult to put out sometimes and mitigate expectations if I'm putting out damage and XP records in every videos. But anyway, guys, here is the commander, Mr. Andrew Cunningham, with Paulo Di Ravel and Angelo Iccianino for a touch more grouping, as well as a little bit of reload there. So flammable, cannoneer, crisscross, marksmanship, and reaching out XXL, as well as fight fire with fire. Just the build I prefer, more of an accuracy build. Yes, you can run the speed build or whatever, but this is just the build I was running. Hit points 56,100 there. It's pretty average for tier 5 with a half decent heal. The artillery is pretty good, 3x2, 381s. Those British 15-inch do pretty good. And our reload there is 24.8 seconds. Keep in mind that's with Di Ravel. So, not the best, but also not the worst. I think it could do with losing a little bit of maybe 22 seconds. It would probably be very good. AA defense is actually really bad. It was a World War I type ship. But here's kind of where the ship excels, 32.7. I don't think I had a speed flag on there. I'm not exactly sure at the moment, but it can get up to 34, 35, and even higher with a few commanders. And there's our detectability. The detectability is actually not that great. But guys, here's where the ship really fails. A 16 millimeter nose and just very chunky front plating. All battleships can essentially overmatch you, and just look at that side plating. Yes, if you can get it angled, but look how large the nose is. They're going to be hitting that bow and stern regardless. And you do actually have a little bit of an angled citadel, so you may not be getting citadeled, but battleships are going to eat that chunky armor. So like I said, I'm not a huge fan of this ship. That doesn't mean it's bad in any regard. I actually think it's a ship that is a little bit different in terms of its speed and capabilities at tier 5. But it just hasn't clicked with me yet. That doesn't mean it will never click. Ships like the Montana and the Champagne are ships that I have kind of went back and played, and I'm sure with kind of how light this update was in terms of ships, I will maybe go back. But that is the HMS Repulse, a beautiful looking ship. Don't be too mad at me, my British audience. I love you guys. The daring is one of my most favorites. So I have some British loves, but this is not one of them. But if you want to get this ship, make sure you guys get those quadrans, just another currency in the game that we don't need. But yeah, that is the review of the HMS Repulse. I hope you guys enjoyed that. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Aaron out. Peace.